I'm gonna make this quick because otherwise we're gonna die of smoke inhalation because I had to turn off the fan so you could hear me. But it's the end of the day on Weekendween, and I did finish a book, which I'll talk to you about tomorrow, which was the Ice Planet Honeymoon, the compilation. So the good thing about a very long work day is that I was able to finish that, but otherwise this day fucking sucked. And now it's time for dinner, so I'm making garlic chicken, which doesn't look very good, so I won't show it to you, but it tastes fucking divine, and it's exactly what we need on a Friday after a really long week. And also I'm upset because I really want to go to the gym today, but I really should not have time. I just got off work and it's like 5:30 now, and I started 7, and I'm having some allergies, but I really wanted to go to the fucking gym, but work just didn't work that way because I've been sitting all fucking day, and you know, if I didn't have my brother to give me food, I would just fucking starve because he got me breakfast and lunch, and that's the only thing I've eaten all day. So I technically have 2 other books that I still need to read for this because the first prompt is to like flip a coin to pick whatever book you were gonna read, but I didn't abide by that prompt because I knew I wanted to read the audiobook first that I had, because obviously during work hours I could probably listen to a 6-hour audiobook, so that's what I did. So the monster book that I read today counted for the first and the second prompt, and then I still have the third and the fourth prompt to fulfill, but those should not be a problem. I have to go to the library tomorrow and pick up one of the books anyway, and one of the other books I already have, and they're both really short, and I'll tell you about them tomorrow. But I was gonna make a TBR for this, and I ended up not doing that because I've just been fucking busy. So you'll find out about the books as I get to them. But the only book I've read so far is Ice Planet Honeymoon, which is a compilation of like 4 of the couples. I think it's 4 of the first couples. It's their like honeymoon, or like a little bit of time after they like mate together. So I'll tell you all of that tomorrow. But right now I can't even think. I need to focus on making garlic chicken and then going for a walk and going to bed. So that's what's happening.
Why do you seem so scared? All I wanted to do was play with you. Please come and play with me. I'm so lonely. You're not afraid of the dark, are you? Are you? Are you? Are you? Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Come with me. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Come with me. All I wanted to do is play with you. Come with me. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. I will
Good morning, guys. It is day 3, which is Sunday, October 30th, and I've already finished all 4 books that I like planned on reading, and now I'm in the Dutch Bros drive-thru picking up our coffee order for this morning while my brother goes and gets us Denny's because I really wanted their pumpkin pancakes. Anyway, I don't have any footage from yesterday other than me reading the 2 graphic novels, just because my neighbors were being so loud upstairs that whenever I filmed, you couldn't really hear me. And on top of that, I was just getting so aggravated trying to like talk louder. It was just they were really bad clips. Like, it just really wasn't like worth putting in here. So I'm just gonna have to recap the books for you later today whenever I feel like getting around to it. But yesterday was very stressful. But I did end up finishing 4 books yesterday. So 3 of those were obviously for Weekendween, and one of them was actually just for another reading vlog that I want to make sure I can post before the end of October, just because it's like about spooky books, and I finally finished it. So I really piled through some books yesterday, so I'm really proud of myself for that. But today I'm gonna go ahead and film basically my thoughts on all 4 books I read, because I don't have any clips of me talking about Ice Planet Honeymoon, which I did yesterday. So I'm just gonna talk about all 4 of them today. Also, if you're curious about my Dutch Bros order today, I got the 911. I got it half caffeinated, which I always do for my drinks if they offer it. And then I got extra sweet. My brother, I got him a medium iced Kokomo, which is just coconut and chocolate. I usually get their Annihilator, which is their macadamia nut one, but I decided to try something different today. And I have like the Irish cream before, but I've never gotten the 911 because it has 6 shots, which is like a lot. But I think I would like to try it because I miss the coffee flavor sometimes in their other drinks, because every drink they offer is breve, which means it's made with half and half. Half and half just takes out a lot of the flavor in a lot of ways, and it just tastes like half and half. So I'm really excited to try the 911 and see if I like it because the extra shots in it compared to the other drinks. So I hope it's good. I hope I'm not like wired as fuck, even though I got half, but we're gonna find out. And I'm basically done today, which is fantastic because I have so many books on my TBR till the end of the year. I have probably around 25 Christmas books. I'm not even kidding, because I've requested like 50 romances on NetGalley the other day, and I got a lot of them so far, which is great, but now I have to like get around to reading them because it's really affecting my score, and that's something I wish that NetGalley would fix. Like, I really wish NetGalley would like let it affect your score after like a certain amount of time that you haven't picked it up, because it's just so incredibly frustrating that like the minute you get approved something, it affects your score, and you obviously haven't had time to fucking read it. You know what I'm saying? That is my biggest fucking pet peeve I have about NetGalley. But I also requested a bunch of Christmas books for my other library. I'm really just doing the most at the end of this year. I've really been into reading, but that's also why I picked really short books for Weekend Ween, because I didn't originally plan on doing Weekend Ween. I decided to do it later last week. It was like Wednesday right before, and I was like, let me do it. So I purposefully picked really short books that I know I would probably enjoy and or read really quickly. So that's what happened. But anyway, I will talk to you guys when I'm out of the drive-thru, because I'm about to pick up my coffee, and then we'll chat later.
I swear there's something going on across the street. My neighbor's acting just a little too discreet. He's taking trash out in the middle of the night. But when I see him in the day, he's so polite. Every morning he waves as I leave the door. But I see him buying bleach at the grocery store.
Okay guys, so it is the last day of Weekend Ween, but I did end up finishing all the books technically on day 2. So day 4 technically is not happening. I finished all my books by the night of day 2, and then I obviously gave you guys a little bit of a, recap yesterday, but I kind of want to actually finally go through all the books and their reviews and their star ratings and what I thought of them. So the first book I finished was Ice Planet Honeymoon, which is a compilation of the first 4 couples in the Ice Planet Barbarian series, and their like honeymoons, or like the time after they mated for the first time. So that's like their honeymoon period, and I gave each of them a separate rating in my review, but overall I think it was like 3 stars. It was good. It wasn't my favorite, and some of the stories are better than others. Part 1 is Georgie and Vectal, and theirs was actually quite sad, so it just wasn't really what I was expecting, even though I love them as characters, and they're probably my favorite characters and couples, and their sex is really hot. Part 2 is Liz and Rahosh, and I just have never liked them as like a couple. I just find them really annoying. Rahosh thinks he's like so fucking ugly, and like it's just, that's like their entire fucking relationship. But there was a really funny backdoor scene, and there also was like a funny moment where he talked about her like drooling a small river. That was funny. So that was okay. And then we also have Kira and Ahako, and Ahako's worried that she's gonna like lose the baby, and Kira is also worried about that. It's just, that was like most of their honeymoon, but I actually liked theirs, I think, the best, just because it stayed true to their characters, I think, the best. And also like I just found it more interesting, and it was really cute how he just took care of her and he was really protective. And then the last people, which are actually one of my favorite couples, which is Harlow and Rook, I did not really like it. It was, their honeymoon also took place like in the middle of like their book technically, so I just feel like we really went back in terms of communication between Rook and Harlow, because he obviously doesn't know English, and they both have not done like that thing where you can go to like the mothership and like learn each other's languages, which is explained, I think, is that in the first book or the second book? I don't remember, but they haven't done that, so they have to like learn to communicate like on their own. So I don't know if I really like that miscommunication trope. It just didn't really work for me. So this book overall got a 3, but I'm kind of upset that I didn't read the novella separately, because that technically would count as 4 books. But it only counts as 1. Isn't that annoying? Shouldn't compilations count for the amount of books that's actually fucking in them? Agree or disagree? Let me know in the comments. And the second book I read was Fangs, and this is a graphic novel with a love story between a vampire and a werewolf, and I read this actually last year. This was a reread, but I just kind of like remember that I had it on my shelf, and I was like, why would I not pick this for one of the prompts? It just kind of like made sense. So I just picked this anyway, just like as an extra additional book, just because it was fun, and it takes me like 10 minutes to reread it. I feel like upon reread, I gave the same rating, but like I kind of wish it went a little bit deeper, and I wish we knew more about these characters, because honestly, I'd read a second graphic novel by them. I would read like an actual book with them as characters. Like really, really interesting concept. And the third book I read was Delphine, which is a graphic novel that's supposed to be creepy, but honestly, I just found it really weird and it didn't really make any sense. I was trying to figure out what it meant the entire time, and I just feel like it didn't do anything. It just had a lot of like weird moments in it where like nobody wanted to help him, and he could like never find Delphine, and then he finds like her stepmother, who like basically tells him how she sexually assaulted her stepdaughter. It was like really uncomfortable, and it just like didn't make any sense in the ending. Again, didn't make any fucking sense. Like I didn't understand this book like at all. I actually think it was for me. It got 1 star. I actually did not like it at all. Like this is probably one of my least favorite graphic novels I've ever read. Like it just made no sense. It didn't creep me out. It just was like really cringy and uncomfortable. And I didn't understand like the motivations behind it or like the story. I feel like the plot was just like not there at all, but I did love the art style, so I'll give it that. And This fulfilled the prompt for reading a graphic novel, so that's what this was for. And the last book I read was The Yellow Wallpaper, which is the book you're supposed to read in the dark. That was the prompt that this one fulfilled, and this was a 35-minute audiobook that I've actually read this before as well. This was also a reread. I read this during college a few times, and I never really thought to like look on Goodreads to see if it was like a book. So I've already read it multiple times, but I wanted to reread it again, and this was the perfect opportunity because it's so fucking short. And I purposefully picked these books to be short because I have a really bad habit of picking very long books for readathons, and it's so frustrating that I always keep picking these long ass books that I know I'll like never finish. So that's why I chose to listen to my audiobook first, because I knew I had work on Friday. Made perfect sense. I finished it, and then the other books were way faster to read. They're really quick little graphic novels and a 35-minute audiobook, so it just made sense. Anyway, I digress. But The Yellow Wallpaper is a very famous novel, and it's basically about a woman suffering from postpartum depression, and her doctor husband like keeps her in this rental home while their house is being renovated, and she's kept away from her child, and she basically kind of starts to go nuts looking at the yellow wallpaper that she fucking hates, and she thinks there's people like behind the yellow wallpaper, and starts going a little cuckoo. This is just a really good representation of mental illness. I just kind of wish it went deeper, or we knew more of her background with her husband, or more of her background. But in the same sense, I also like how short it is, because not all books need to be really long, but I just kind of wish we had like a little bit more understanding. But then again, it really just kind of is a story about her like going mad, and I think that it was done well. But overall, this one gets 3 stars from me. I just feel like it's a really good story. It's not forgettable by any means. I just wish it was like more elaborative and we kind of got more descriptions of what happened. I think this book can be interpreted in so many different ways, which is why I think it's used so heavily in English literature classes. So take what you will. I would definitely recommend this if you're looking for a really, really short book for a readathon to read in the dark, because you can, you know, read on ebook or audiobook or whatever. Definitely recommend. Anyways, that's it for Weekend Ween, and I finished everything early. I'm really happy with myself, and I'm going to post this tomorrow because today is Halloween, and I already posted another reading vlog that you should go check out. But yeah, I'm going to go try and enjoy the rest of my Halloween night. Maybe eat some candy if there's any left over, and watch Addams Family. So I will talk to you guys next time. Bye!